What's up, guys? I'm going to do my UFC on FX3 predictions. There's 8 prelim fights and 4 main card fights. I'm only going to do a few of them because there's a lot of undercard fights that I don't know the fighters well enough. So this is what I was talking about before. Like, the UFC should spread out the cards more. Like, UFC 146 a couple weeks ago was a stacked card. And you could have took maybe Dan Hardy, put him on this card, or Mayhem, or Diego Brandao. There's a lot of guys making their UFC debuts. I think there's, 6 fighters making their UFC debut? I mean, I know there'll probably be good fights and everything, and they're up-and-comers, but I think they should just balance it out more. So, I'm going to do 2 prelim fights. Leonard Garcia and Matt Grice. I'm going to pick Leonard Garcia by knockout. Matt Grice is a tough kid, but I think Leonard needs a win here. And then Mike Pierce, who's coming off a controversial loss to Josh Koscheck, is fighting Carlos Eduardo Roca, who hasn't fought since, I think, last February when he lost to Jake Ellenberger. He's 1-1 in the UFC, beat Chris McRae prior to that. That Ellenberger fight was close. It was a close fight. Roca's a tough guy. But I'm going to go with Mike Pierce. I think Mike Pierce is a tough guy, very underrated. I think he showed that against Koscheck. He wasn't easy to take down. He's not the most exciting fighter, but he's a grinder. He's kind of like Koscheck. I'm going to take Mike Pierce by decision. So we got Leonard Garcia and Mike Pierce there. To start off the main card, we got Eddie Wineland, former WEC 135-pound champion, against Scott Jorgensen. Jorgensen coming off a loss to Renan Barão, who's now fighting for the title against Uri Faber in about a month. Eddie Wineland also, I think he's winless in the UFC, going 0-2, 2 in a row to Faber and Benavidez. Eddie Wineland's a tough guy, but he likes to stand and bang. Jorgensen is a wrestler, and Eddie Wineland has showed that he has had problems with wrestlers. So I'm going to pick Jorgensen by decision. I don't think he'll finish Eddie Wineland. Eddie Wineland can knock him out, but Jorgensen's tough. I think he'll play it smart and take him down, and it won't be the most exciting fight, but we'll see. So I'm going to pick Jorgensen on that one. Next up, we got Mike Pyle and Josh Neer. Josh Neer, I believe, last fought against Dwayne Ludwig, and he submitted him by guillotine choke. And Mike Pyle is coming off a win again. I think he gets Ricardo Funch. Yeah, Mike Pyle kind of flopped against a lot of tough guys. I know he's lost to Rory McDonald. He beat John Hathaway. And Ricardo Almeida. So, yeah, his 2 losses since joining the UFC. He's got 3 losses. Brock Larson, Jake Ellenberger, and Rory McDonald. He's beaten Hathaway, Almeida, and he's coming off a win against Ricardo Funch. Neer's a long-time veteran, in and out of the UFC for a long, long time. Like, I don't even think he's 30 years old, and he's got something like 40 fights or something. He's got 2 wins in a row since coming back to the UFC against Dwayne Ludwig and Keith Wozniacki. I'm going to go with Pyle by submission here. I think he'll get the finish. Neer's a tough guy, but I just think Pyle's better, more advanced. So I'm going to go with Pyle. Next up, we got Charlie Brenneman against Eric Silva. Eric Silva's coming off a controversial GQ loss to Carlo Prater. And Charlie Brenneman, I think he fought Daniel Roberts in January, I think. And then before that, he got knocked out by Anthony Johnson. And before that, he beat Rick Story on 24 hours notice, which was a huge, huge upset. Brenneman's fought tough guys, but when he fights the heavy punchers like Anthony Johnson and John Hendrick, he's lost. Eric Silva's a tough guy. It's a close fight to call. I've been going either way on this. I'm going to go with Eric Silva. I think he'll TKO him. Charlie Brenneman could easily win by decisions, but I'm going to go with Silva on this one. Next, we got the flyweight main event. Demetrius Johnson against Ian McCall. These two last fought in March. It was a draw. Demetrius Johnson originally won by split decision, and then it was ruled in the post-fight press conference that it was a majority draw. One judge called it a draw, one for Johnson, one for McCall. That fight was close, too close for 2 rounds, and then McCall dominated the 3rd round, had him in back mount, almost finished him. I agreed with the original decision. I originally thought that Johnson took the first 2 rounds and McCall took the last one, but I'm not upset that it was a draw because that round could have been scored to 10-8 round. In the rematch, I'm going to go with McCall. I think by decision, split decision. I don't know if it'll go to overtime round. We'll see. But if it goes to an overtime round, it's 4 rounds. So if they're going to score a draw, that's 4 rounds. It could go 2-2. Oh no, it can't. Because the first 2 rounds, yeah. That can happen. But I'm going to pick McCall by decision. I just think he's a better fighter. Mighty Mouse is tough. Mighty Mouse could easily win. But I think it'll be another close fight. Like, no matter what, people will be upset. I just think it'll be a close split decision, nail-biting fight. And the winner will end up fighting Joseph Benavidez for the flyweight title. So, I'm going to pick McCall on that one, but Johnson could easily win. In other news, I did my rankings yesterday, and I talked about Bibiano Fernandes, how I got him ranked really high. A couple hours later, I go check the internet, and he's signed to fight in the UFC. So he signed a deal with the UFC to fight in Calgary, UFC 149, which is, I think he lives in Vancouver or something. I think that's a great move. I think he's a tough kid, brings some much-needed depth to the UFC bantamweight division. So I think that's great news. Great job of the UFC to sign him. So yeah, I hope he wins. You know, maybe if he gets past his opponent. I forget who he's fighting, but maybe give him a tough guy. Maybe Michael McDonald. That'd be a perfect matchup. Striker versus grappler. So, anyways, those are my predictions.